Tulsa race massacre survivors arrived in Ghana with their grandchildren at the start of a trip to connect with their motherland. The trip was organized by Our Black Truth, a social media platform to provide the survivors with new experiences and memories. Viola Fletcher, 107, known as Mother Fletcher, and her brother Hughes Van Ellis, 100, known as Uncle Red, are from the Greenwood district in the Oklahoma city of Tulsa that was devastated in 1921 by a mob of armed white people. Up to 300 African Americans were killed in the attack on the area nicknamed Black Wall Street, and some 10,000 left homeless when the district was set ablaze, leaving a vibrant economy in ruins. Fletcher and Ellis were accompanied by their grandchildren on a week-long trip to the West African nation as part of a government campaign to attract people of African heritage abroad back home. The siblings landed in Ghana's capital of Accra on Saturday with beaming smiles, waving from their wheelchairs to airport onlookers cheering welcome home. "It's my first time on the continent of Africa, and I'm just thrilled to be here," said Ellis' daughter, Mama. As they made their way out of the airport, the survivors were given flowers and sashes saying, "Beyond the Return," in reference to the government campaign launched in 2019, for centuries after the first slave ship landed in what is now the U.S. "My grandparents are extremely excited to be home for the first time on the motherland," said Fletcher's grandson, Ike Howard. "If you haven't visited Africa, this is the time to come. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but tomorrow is never promised to anyone." Viola Fletcher said she relives memories of the massacre every day. "On that first night, in 1921, I went to bed in my family's home in Greenwood," she recalled, in a statement published by the Diaspora African Forum. "I had everything a child could need. But within a few horrible hours, all of that was gone," said Fletcher. "Now, after all these years, I'm so happy to be fulfilling a lifelong dream of going to Africa, and I am so pleased that is to beautiful Ghana."
The biggest historic African diaspora that has come back to us. And when President made the announcement on Beyond the Return 2018 in DC and celebrating Beyond the Return in 2019, we never thought of having one of our siblings who was forcibly taken away, generation from that, to come out 107 years old and have the passion and interest to want to visit Ghana, not only by herself, but also bringing the younger brother along who is 100 years old.
In June of this year, Transformation Church pastor Michael Todd gave each of the only living survivors of the Tulsa massacre $200,000 each in reparations.
And in front of this entire crowd, in front of the whole world, I said, what could we give them? And I looked up, what is the median price of a house in Tulsa, Oklahoma? And $200,000 was the number that came up. So today, on behalf of Transformation Church, God, and Transformation Nation, each one of you is getting a check for $200,000. I dare you to give God praise. It's reparation season, and the church, change starts in the church. Can we give? God bless you. God bless you. Who is this to you? This is your grandmother? So this is your grandmother? So what was taken from her was taken from you. Yeah, this ain't on the schedule, but she's gonna get $200,000, but she's gonna get $100,000 as well. It's reparation season. Everything that the enemy stole, he's gotta give it back. Change starts in the church. Change starts in the church. I hope this generosity is contagious. Because what was stolen from them and what has been stolen from you, you don't have to sit in that devastation. God's saying, don't put a period where he put a comma. The story is still being written. And in the 100th year of this crazy massacre, on behalf of Transformation Church, our generosity in 10 minutes was $1 million. This is a season of restoration. Reparation. God says, I'm about to build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. God that brings restoration from devastation is to read Isaiah 61 over you. He said, receive the restoration that only comes from God. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim this good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim that the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God is here to comfort all who mourn and provide all those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, a garment of praise instead of the spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. They will rebuild. They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. That they have devastated for generations. Strangers will shepherd your flocks. Foreigners will work your fields and vineyards, and you will be called priests of the Lord. You will be named ministers of God. You will feed on the wealth of nations, and in their riches you will boast. Somebody needs to receive this right now. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. Lift your hands and get ready for this. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. Instead of disgrace, you will receive and rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land. An everlasting joy will be yours. I said an everlasting joy will be yours. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrongdoing. And my faithfulness, I will reward my people. God will reward his people and make an everlasting covenant with them. Their descendants, somebody lift your hands because this is for you, will be known among the nations, and their offspring among the people. All who see us will acknowledge that they are the people of the Lord, and they are blessed.
Reparation is not a political word. Reparation is not a word that your left-wing friends or your right-wing friends have coined, Todd said. Let me give you the definition of reparations. The action of repairing something that was devastated. Reparations mean that somebody is going to take up the mantle and actually put into action the process of repairing something that was destroyed. He then quoted Joel 2:25, which says, "And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmerworm, my great army which I sent among you." He stressed